So we're at 124,000 members, 8% in national polling apparently, and a party that's been registered for 12 days. Rupert Lowe has just announced that Restore Britain will contest 10 seats, all of them in one town. Now, every instinct in politics says that you take those numbers and flood the country with candidates. That's what parties do, that's what Reform did, and Lowe is betting everything on doing the exact opposite. And he might actually be right. Today, Lowe sent an email to every one of those members laying out the plan. And fair play to the man, he didn't dress it up. He was blunt. That's exactly why a lot of people like him. The party's been registered for 12 days. Elections are in 36. They've almost got 20,000 active volunteers, a national billboard campaign running, hundreds of thousands of leaflets delivered, and polling that puts them ahead of the Lib Dems in one tracker. And his response to all of that momentum was essentially, we're holding back. His words, we have had the offers, and we certainly have the ability to campaign, but that would be wrong. Then he went further. I'm not going to present to the British people thousands of candidates who have not been properly vetted, interviewed, or considered. That would be irresponsible and rash. Now, and I need you to sit with this just for a moment, when was the last time a party leader openly said, we're not ready to do that yet? Lowe himself called it unusual for a politician, and that's actually a bit of an understatement. By the way, my neighbour has decided that today is a glorious day to mow his lawn. I'm on a time crunch to get this video out, so sorry if you can hear the background noise. So, the plan is 10 elections in Great Yarmouth, 9 county council seats, plus 1 borough council by-election. That is everything they'll contest in May. And Lowe went out of his way to explain why rushing would be a disaster, pointing at one very specific recent example. He listed what rushing produces. His words, paper candidates, those with questionable histories, opportunist careerists, individuals who have no interest in working hard, some even simply after the money. So why would he hold back 6 figures of sign-ups from fighting across the country? Because he's seen what happens when you don't. Reform UK won 677 council seats in May 2025, took control of roughly 10 to 12 councils, and then the budget cycle arrived. Worcestershire County Council, under Reform minority control, pushed through an 8.98% council tax increase. They needed special government permission to breach the 5% referendum cap because they were staring at a £74.3 million funding gap, teetering on the edge of Section 114. For those not fluent in local government jargon, that basically means bankruptcy. The government had to hand them £59 million in emergency support. A Reform councillor quit the party live on air over it. A no-confidence vote was tabled, and Farage himself, said of Worcestershire, I wish we hadn't bothered. Now, Richard Tice tried to spin this, claimed Reform's average council tax increase was 3.94%. Sounds almost respectable. Until you clock that he got that number by excluding the minority-controlled councils from his own calculation. The actual average across all 12 Reform councils was 4.32%. Classic. Meanwhile, Kent's much-hyped Doge unit, modelled on Musk's Department of Government Efficiency, largely failed to find any significant waste to cut. Derbyshire cut care homes, County Durham cut council tax relief, and Nottinghamshire's Reform leader banned the local newspaper from speaking to Reform councillors. That's democracy in action. Then there's the vetting. Farage admitted paying £144,000 to a vetting company that, his words, literally did nothing. Channel 4's undercover investigation caught a canvasser in Farage's own constituency calling Rishi Sunak a racial slur and suggesting refugees be used as target practice. Candidate Ian Gribbing wrote that Britain would have been better off accepting Hitler's offer of neutrality. But to be fair, there's also a lot of conspiracies around that about this guy being a paid actor. I couldn't find much more than that, but I thought it was worth including. Candidate Ian Gribbin wrote that Britain would have been better off accepting Hitler's offer of neutrality, and Reform initially defended the comments as probably true. Within a year, 63 of those 677 councillors had quit or been expelled, roughly 1 in 10. A whistleblower described the entire vetting process as expensive, flawed, and unprofessional. So rushing is clearly a disaster. But does deliberately holding back actually work? There's a proven playbook, and the maths are genuinely mental. Right, let's talk about first past the post, because this is where Lowe's strategy goes from interesting gamble to someone's actually done their homework. In the 2024 general election, Reform needed 123,400 votes to win a single seat. Labour only needed 23,000. That's a pretty big jump, 820,000 versus 23,000, in the same system and the same election. And that's basically not some kind of quirk of the system, that is just what spreading thin under first past the post looks like. UKIP got 3.8 million votes in 2015, 12.6% nationally, and only won one seat. The SDP spread 25.4% of the national vote evenly across the country in 1983 and scraped just 23 seats. Every party that tried to win everywhere at once under this system has learned the same brutal lesson. But concentration works. The Lib Dems under Chris Rennard poured resources into roughly 30 winnable seats and nearly tripled their MPs from 18 to 46 in 1997, while their national vote share actually fell compared to 1974. Fewer votes, more seats. Discipline over ambition. The closest template for what Lowe's attempting is the Green Party. I know a lot of you probably don't want to hear about them, but come on. Caroline Lucas picked Brighton Pavilion in 2007, spent years building council-level presence, won as the first Green MP in 2010, and the party expanded to what they called their 4 for 24 strategy, 4 targeted seats in 2024. All 4 won, with just 6.4% of the national vote. The journey from one beachhead to national presence took 14 years. Lowe appears to be following that model to the letter, except with one significant advantage. He's already the sitting MP. The infrastructure already exists. He's not parachuting into a constituency and building from nothing. That's a head start Lucas didn't have. Now, in fairness, and this matters for credibility, concentration doesn't guarantee survival. The BNP won 12 of 13 council seats in Barking and Dagenham in 2006, then lost every single one in 2010 when Labour counter-mobilised. Galloway's Respect Party pulled off spectacular by-election wins, but collapsed when the personality moved on. You still have to govern well and sustain momentum. But as a method of breaking through, the evidence overwhelmingly says concentrate. Right, so concentration wins. But why Great Yarmouth specifically? Turns out, there may not be a better testing ground anywhere in the country. Great Yarmouth voted 71.5% Leave in 2016, among the top 10 most pro-Brexit constituencies in the UK. It's the 32nd most income-deprived local authority in England. 34% of children are living in poverty, with several neighbourhoods sitting in the bottom 1 to 2% nationally. It was a bellwether from 79 to 2019, always backing whichever party won the country, until Lowe broke that pattern in 2024 by winning for Reform, while Labour took the national result. Lowe won with 14,000 votes, a 35% share, and a majority of over 1,400 over Labour. Not a landslide, but enough. And the 9 county council divisions he's now targeting were almost all Conservative held, with 60% plus vote share in 2021. Those voters are now completely up for grabs. The borough council's on a knife edge too. 19 Conservative, 18 Labour, 2 Independent. One by-election could shift the balance. And nominations close on the 8th of April, 1 week from today. The candidates are already announced. John Whedon as lead candidate. Michael French, a former Norfolk police officer. And I heard the bloke talk at the Restore Britain conference, and yeah, no, he was actually really great. And Glenn Hurren from the energy sector among them. People with actual local roots, not names pulled from a spreadsheet the night before nominations closed. One more thing that adds some real urgency to this. These may be the last ever Norfolk County Council elections. On the 25th of March, the government announced a 3-unitary model that will abolish both county and district councils, with new authorities going live in April 2028. So this isn't just a test for Restore Britain, it's potentially the final chance to put any kind of marker down in Norfolk's current political structure. So what happens if this works? What does May the 8th look like if Restore Britain sweeps the board? Lowe's email was explicit. Win Great Yarmouth, prove the model, then take it national. The 2027 elections are the target. qualified candidates in every seat across Britain, and work on 2027 recruitment has already started. The numbers suggest there's an appetite. 15% of people who voted Reform in 2024 already tell pollsters they'd back Restore Britain, and that's before a single ballot has been counted. Now, a moment of honesty, because credibility matters more than just cheerleading. That 8% polling figure comes from one company, Find Out Now, a sample of 2,948 people. No major pollster like YouGov, Ipsos or Savanta has included Restore Britain as a named option yet. Find Out Now itself cautions that giving a new party a named slot alongside established parties may inflate their numbers. And the February poll was commissioned by Restore Britain itself. Though Find Out Now is a British Polling Council member. It's worth watching, it's not gospel. But even the cautious analysis is striking. The American Conservative noted that even 3% nationally for Restore Britain could be devastating for Reform under first past the post. The party already has 12 defected councillors, mostly from Reform in Kent, with others from East Riding, Leicestershire, Warwickshire and Northamptonshire. The question isn't whether Lowe can generate interest. He's already done that. The question is whether that membership base can show up in a single town and deliver results that make the rest of the country pay attention. Lowe described this as, and I'm paraphrasing, running the most professional local election campaign Britain has ever seen. Bold claim, but the strategy is sound. The history supports it, and the town fits the profile like it was designed for this. May the 7th is 36 days away. We've been covering Restore Britain's journey from the party's announcement, and we'll be following this campaign all the way to election night. If you're within reach of Great Yarmouth, Lowe's call to action is direct. Come and help. Teams on the ground from April the 7th, action days on the 18th of April and the 2nd of May, and polling day on the 7th of May. The registration link is in the description. If you're not local, Lowe's own advice to his members was this: examine your options. Look at who's taken the care to address real local issues. Support who you think will actually deliver for your community. And if you want to follow what happens in Great Yarmouth as it unfolds, then subscribe, because this one's probably going to be worth watching.